Softer than cashmere, naturally antibacterial, sustainable and environmentally friendly, so they're kinder to the planet as well as your skin. See TheaHealthcare.com to order your certified Thea bamboo masks you can trust today. Guaranteed Irish, altogether better.
Hello, this is Liz O'Donnell, Chairperson of the Road Safety Authority. So far this year, 102 people have died on Irish roads. That's 9 more than this time last year. I'm asking everyone to please make an effort to be safer on our roads, so we don't lose any further loved ones, friends, neighbours or colleagues. Schools have reopened this month, roads are busier and there are more children walking and cycling to school. Drivers, slow down, put away your mobile phone and watch out for vulnerable road users. If you're walking or cycling, be seen and stay safe. Working together, we can save lives.
3 are giving business owners half-price plans until 2021. Because whether it's giving us a lift home, sorting out an emergency leak, or serving our weekly treat, these businesses have kept us going. So we're doing our bit to keep them going. Visit 3.ie/business or go in-store to switch or upgrade today and start saving. 3. Make it count. Selected plans only. Standard monthly charge applies from 2021. Minimum term required. New or upgrading customers only. See 3.ie.
Don't miss our essential guide to the CAO and non-CAO options this Saturday only in the Irish Independent. Brimming with expert advice on the CAO process, grants and everything parents need to know. Plus our ultimate points guide, details of a free exam helpline, a live Q&A blog and education podcasts. Exclusively in the Irish Independent. Real stories worth paying for. Imprint or subscribe at independent.ie.
Planning to give your office a facelift? Need help optimising your workspace to meet the new health and safety guidelines? The team at Hunt Office Interiors can help with all of your planning, design and project management requirements. We provide a full range of solutions from office furniture and seating to state-of-the-art glass partitions. With ultra-modern showrooms in City West and Limerick, we'd love to show you what we're made of. To connect with our interiors team, simply email interiors@huntoffice.ie. Serving Ireland's business community for over 21 years. huntoffice.ie.
You ain't shit! I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
Well, fans can be the harshest critics, you know.
And they often are.
A wife is often the harshest critic of her husband.
I thought I was invincible. That's what you're trained to believe as a sports person.
There was 4 million people in Ireland who knew much more about managing football teams than I did. When it comes to music, I can spoof with the best.
Your sporting career is the best time you'll have, and you know you have to hang on to it for as long as you like, because everything else is pretty crappy.
And this is not lies. Stephen Rothschild has never spoken to Jimmy McGuinness in his life.
You're welcome back to Off the Ball Saturday here on News Talk. John Duggan with you through until 5 o'clock. You can text us on 53106. You can tweet us at Off the Ball. We're streaming live as well, so you can watch us on the Off the Ball social channels for Periscope and Twitter at Off the Ball, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on the new OTB Sports app for iOS and Android. Search OTB Sports in your app store now for that. So rugby's return has been a success. Even though it's not ideal, obviously, without fans. The Pro14 decider taking place at the Aviva Stadium tonight between Leinster and Ulster, an all-Irish final, a 7:35 kick-off, and delighted to be joined to look ahead to it over the next hour by Mike McCarthy, who won the 2014 title with Leinster, Paddy Wallace, who won the 2006 title with Ulster, and the former Irish international Lynne Cantwell, the current chair of Sport Ireland's Women in Sport Committee and a Sport Ireland board member. Folks, how are we doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing? Good to see you all.
Yeah, absolutely. You're wearing a jersey there, Paddy. Any kind of special significance for those of us watching? You're an Ulster jersey. It looks like you put it through the wash overnight as well.
Yeah, I stole it off my 13-year-old son. Just about fits on with a bit of baby oil. But yeah, no, it's the only jersey I have lying around the house. I think it says the semi-final of the Heineken back in 2012. So I'll have it on tonight for the final.
Oh, very good. And were you one of these people that swap jerseys much, Paddy? I don't know if it's a rugby thing. I know it's a soccer thing, but where you'd swap jerseys or keep memorabilia, keep jerseys?
Yeah, I did, and they were stored away in a box at my parents' house after a house move, and I hadn't looked or touched them in must have been 10 years, and now my son is growing up a wee bit. I dug them out, and he's wearing Felipe Contepomi's jersey as I took him out for lunch today. So it's nice to have those and pass those down.
Yeah, and you got your caps behind you there as well. On the you got the whole rig out, the whole gear all sorted today, Paddy. Mike, you're wearing blue, obviously.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Dev Toner memorabilia T-shirt, which the Leinster supporters sent me. I don't know if you can see it there.
Oh, that's brilliant. The real Dev.
Yeah, the real Dev, yeah, but it's ripped a bit when I put it on. I don't know if you can see there's a little rip, so I must be getting fat in retirement. But yeah, no, I haven't got a load of caps and shirts up like Paddy in the background. I mean, he's just showing off there, isn't he?
Did you keep many jerseys, Mike?
I've got loads of jerseys. Actually, during lockdown, I've had a good clear out. So we moved house and I had a good clear out and sorted out the ones I want to keep. And yeah, I had a nice little stash of jerseys. So yeah, I need to get a few framed for the office, but that's on the to-do list.
Any prize won? What's the most treasured possession?
I've got Backy's Bothas, who I swapped with. I ended up with Sam Canes for some reason. I swapped jerseys, and I wanted the second rows, but for some reason I've got Sam Canes. But still, yeah, yeah, no, they're all big ones, and a good one. I was a bit naughty when I was playing for Connacht. We played Toulouse, and I think it was our first year in the Champions Cup and Heineken Cup then, and yeah, I swapped jerseys after the match and got a Toulouse jersey. Albacete I swapped with, and so I got in a bit of trouble with Connacht, 'cause you're not meant to do that. And I did the same with Leinster when we played Toulon once. So, but I got away with that one. So yeah, I've got some nice ones to keep.
And Lynne, have you got some stuff from the Grand Slam? I'd say still.
Yeah, it's funny. It still has the muck on it. Every now and again I look at it. Yeah, it's got lots of stitching up the side because they were too big, so we stitched them right before. But I remember years ago swapping a jersey with an English player, a really, really good English player at the time, and I left it at the back of the bus, so it's gone, and so I never should have had it. And otherwise, I've a lovely New Zealand jersey, which I want to frame and put an Irish jersey in New Zealand, kind of half and half. But again, another one on the to-do list, like Mike.
So what do you remember, folks, about, say, Mike and Paddy, about winning the Celtic League, which then became the Pro 12, which then became the Pro 14? Paddy, was probably, 14 years ago now for you?
Yeah, a long time ago. And, yeah, some bad hair that day, bleached blonde. But I had come into the squad, or I had sort of come into the Ulster squad in 2001, had a really good first year, broke my leg, and then was really fighting to get for about 2 years to get my place back, and I came in after an injury to Johnny Bell and played sort of the tail end of that season, and actually found my position at 12 rather than 10, and that sort of that end of season run of about 6 games really changed the arc of my career. So really happy memories, and to be part of that in the end, some great memories. It was down to the wire. I remember David Humphreys knocking over the drop goal. It ended up bouncing off both posts and going over, and luckily we got away from Liberty Stadium with a win and stayed the night in Swansea. A few stories came out from that night out, and a few drinking bans were had to be signed up to by our former Irish captain. A few TVs broken in the hotel room. So good memories, great memories.
Mike, you won it a few years ago, 2014.
Yeah, no, obviously happy memories. I just remember it was a really sunny day at the RDS, the finals of the RDS. So that was, a big plus for us back then. And I actually nearly missed the final because I'd been out with a calf injury and managed to get back ahead of schedule, but hadn't played for about 4, 5, 6 weeks. So just delighted to make the day, because I thought I haven't played for the whole season. I wasn't going to make the final. So, and yeah, just memories coming into my head of Leone Nakarawa, his offloading game, and he was the big focus going into the game, trying to stop him. But yeah, no, a great day, a sunny day at the RDS, and yeah, it was great to get the win against Glasgow.
We got text in here, 53106. Backy's both a jersey of the prize there. Springboks World Champions. That is from Lee, South African, Irish. Lynne, it's a strange one because obviously you're on the Sport Ireland board at the moment, and we don't have any fans at the Aviva Stadium tonight. And how's it all going in terms of how Sport Ireland are dealing with COVID at the moment? And obviously we've got the grants coming, and I'm sure a lot of planning, and this is just so unprecedented given that at the start of the year we would have been looking at a Pro 14 final in the springtime with 40, 50,000 people.
Yeah, look, it's a really bonkers time. like everybody's taking things week by week, and I think naturally within Sport Ireland, the necessities of COVID has meant that previous plans and strategies have had to be resourced by the same people that have had to resource return to play protocols, return to train protocols, and return to play protocols, which I suppose the intention is that all of the sports would have had to write their own return to train and return to play protocols. They'd had to go through Sport Ireland to try and ensure that there was some form of baseline norm and some form of gold standard to try and help everybody, because this is all just new to everybody. Nobody has obviously ever done this before. So I think there seemed to be like a huge kind of collegiate approach to how people were trying to design what was necessary to put in place in order for everybody to be safe, and then to progress on to playing. And then the government grant, the investment grant that came through, the 70 million was, a really, really important point. I believe the sports sector has been kind of held up to have been one of the government sectors that has been really proactive in trying to work, or I suppose, attack what's necessary from a sporting point of view through COVID as best as possible. So as a result, that 70 million grant was really great. And then it's been allocated, and I think obviously in the next while, all of the NGBs know what grants and what they're able to apply for, and then that's just what they're doing in the process at the moment. So, there is money there for people to try and survive, to try and progress, but it's just every week it could change. So we'll just see how it goes.
And rugby, Lynne, is so vital, because we know how much of a hole it's been in financially with no crowds, and it's just vital just for the sustainability of rugby that they get the support.
Yeah, look, vital, absolutely vital. And we know these autumn internationals are just vital, aren't they? With like this autumn international period for all unions is just so important from a revenue point of view. So that's really, really key that they go ahead. Let's just hope that they do. And then obviously the government funds to try and just support the teams and the clubs as well, to be fair, to try and just stay afloat and just to stay going, so that hopefully we get out the other side of it, and we still have a platform to work from.
Absolutely. It's now Fulham 0, Arsenal 2, by the way, in the Premier League. The new signing, the Brazilian Gabriel Magalhães, is scoring the second goal for the Gunners. It was just a pretty brilliant stuff last week, Paddy. Like a semi-final are often not won by an away team. It's only the second time that happened, and it's just really flying high for Ulster at the moment. Ian Madigan is not starting later on, but it was from somebody yourself in a similar enough position. You would have felt huge joy for Ian last week.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially coming into a new club, new environment, and it was vital. And he's found himself at home within Ulster. There's plenty of his old mates from Leinster within the squad, and they've made him feel very welcome. And it takes sometimes a performance like that to really embed yourself within the squad. And he was a bit of magic off the bench that Ulster sorely needed, and they got that from the bench last week. They really got they're able to change the momentum of the game, and Ian was a big part of that, and delighted for him to knock over that kick. And that's what he's being brought over for. There's huge competition in the halfbacks now. Hopefully there'll be be some sort of consistency in selection, because when you chop and change halfbacks all the time, it affects the team and the way they can play. But to have Billy Burns there, and Ian deputising for him at the moment, if an injury strikes, we've got great cover as well. So big call as well with John Cooney sitting on the bench as well. It shows the depth that we have, which is sorely needed.
And why did Albie get the nod, you think, Paddy?
John his form hasn't been great since we've come out of lockdown, and he'd be the first to admit that. And to be fair, Albie, he generates that spark almost off the bench. He's so quick at getting the ball away from the base of the ruck. John's game is based on really solid fundamentals, and whenever those go, I suppose he hasn't been as accurate with his box kicking and those fundamental parts of his game. I suppose it could give him the impetus to be able to provide that spark off the bench this time round. But it's a form selection, and Albie has earned his place.
Has he put his position potentially in the Irish squad in jeopardy, do you think, Paddy? John Cooney?
Yeah, I think he's done enough. Certainly, he was Ulster's far and away the best player Ulster had on the pitch last year, and he's just into a bit of a rut of form, and it may take this to bring him out of that, and I wouldn't expect his place to be up in jeopardy in terms of an Irish squad place, but in terms of fighting for that number one spot, he might be sort of nipping down the pecking order.
Yeah, they've got a European Cup quarter-final as well to come. Ian Henderson, as a lock yourself, Mike, that's a crucial factor that he's fit again now for Ulster for tonight's game.
Yeah, and the same with James Ryan. James Ryan obviously hasn't been out as long, but that's a great matchup to look forward to. I think it's 218 days Hendy hasn't played for, so in that win against Wales in the Six Nations, so that is a long, long time. We were talking there about the Pro14 final I was in 2014. I hadn't played for 6 weeks, and I remember I was absolutely gasping for air. You've heard it before. You can do as much as you want training wise, on the watt bike and your off feet conditioning, but nothing replicates playing games week in, week out. And it took me 3, 4, 5 games to feel like I was match fit. But there's some players you see who and Hendy is one of them, who can come in after a long layoff. Robbie Henshaw springs to mind when he's been out injured. They can come back in and just hit the ground running straight away. So, and plus the raw emotion and excitement of being in a final, the adrenaline gets you through it to some extent as well. But there's no doubt he'll be blown, but he's going to have a massive impact, and not only his impact individually, the impact he's going to have on as a talisman on the rest of the squad, giving them belief. And adding to that belief of getting that win last week against Edinburgh. That Dan McFarland fight for every inch mentality where they came back and won it at the death. They'll take a lot of belief from that Champions Cup quarter-final last year where they came so close. And, I think they need to start the game in the same way as they did that game. I think Gary Ringrose got his kick charge down at the start of the game. Kieran Treadwell scored, and they were on the front foot from the start of the game. So from an Ulster point of view, hopefully they have a good start, and they can push on and put themselves in the best position going into the game. And you alluded to it there, the bench as well. I wondered whether discipline came into the selection for the Ulster team, because there's Jack McGrath, Marty Moore, Geordie Murphy, Ian Madigan, John Cooney, all past Leinster players who are going to have a massive chip on their shoulder, who've left the club. They'll be absolutely desperate to get a win today. And I just wondered whether, obviously you're talking about Cooney's form there. I'm sure form came into it, but I wondered, did Dan, he's studied psychology, he's into all that, but, he knows the emotion these guys are going to have coming into a final, and perhaps he's thinking, let's bring them on later in the game when, all that emotion's calmed down a little bit. So, but it's very exciting anyway.
Lynne, is there something in there what Mike is saying there that Ulster might just wanted a bit more tonight, because it's been a long time since they've won a trophy, and Leinster just keep on winning 24 games in a row now?
Yeah, look, I definitely think the McFarland has ignited an energy within Ulster, potentially because of last week's win and how they won in the last quarter and the kick, etc. Like, I'd say it would have been a fairly depressing changing room before that, whereas there's definitely been it's been energized because of that. So from that point of view, like, I think what I like about Ulster is that they are a team with lots of talent, and they are finding their way. They're far from where they need to be and want to be, but McFarland is giving them a license to be able to experiment and play the type of running rugby that they want to do, the pace that they want to play, as well as he's quite clearly able to take chances with selection that is going to definitely muster up a little bit of pressure within all of the players from a competition point of view, which is what you want. And I think we don't see it enough. We're not seeing it in Munster. We've had these conversations about what Irish rugby is doing for the last couple of years, and I really think this is a positive thing from Ulster's point of view. I think what's going to happen tonight, like, Leinster are very, very strong. talent and form is more than likely going to be the determinant of what the results are. But I think, in these first 20 minutes, if Ulster can withstand what Leinster throw at them, it's a game on. And then we know that Ulster finish really, really strong, so they're going to keep on going to the end. So you never know what's going to happen. If, for example, they can hold on within 2 or 3 tries, or even 1 or 2 tries before that last quarter, it's anybody's game to a degree.
Paddy, I'm sure you've spoken to people involved in the camp at the moment. How is the kind of conditioning? How are they fixed regarding their physical fitness and lasting out 80-minute matches at the moment during this very strange and uncertain time?
Yeah, it's been a difficult pre-season, if you can call it that. I think nothing really can replicate, match fitness, and I think with 3 games now under their belt, they'll be feeling a bit more match ready and a bit more match fit. So from that point of view, I think both teams will be on a fairly level playing field. I think, Lynne's absolutely correct, right. I think for Ulster to be in this match in the late stages, they have to play with a real attacking mindset, and culture to the play that Dan McFarland has tried to sort of evolve since his arrival. And it's shown a number of times last season. They really just haven't hit their straps since the break. They've been searching for that, and they got a spark in that last 20 minutes against Edinburgh when they were 12 points down and managed to pull a win out of the bag, and that'll hopefully sort of propel them on to play that energetic style of rugby. I think at ruck time we've been quite ponderous, leaving slow ball on the plate for the scrum halves and the halfbacks, and we really haven't been able to strike off those. So if we can play with that spark from the get-go and really play with an attacking mindset, you have to play with an attacking mindset. You've got to try and outscore Leinster. You're not going to beat them in a dogfight, that's for sure. They've too much talent, they've too much strength and power right across the park. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out and try and play in that first 10, 20 minutes, like they did, I suppose, in that quarter-final last year at the Aviva whenever they ran Leinster so close.
Would it be something to say, Mike, that maybe Ulster are in a better position than Munster right now?
Yeah, possibly. I think so. I mean, I'm sure they've taken lessons from that game they watched a few weeks ago, but it must just be so difficult when you're analysing Leinster as to, how do you go about, beating them? How do you stop that Leinster attack? And yeah, they'll probably be saying, we need numbers in the line, we need good width, good spacings, we need to get up and meet them on the front foot, win the collisions, drive them back. So you go into the game with that mentality that you're going to bring that physicality and, defensive aggression. And then you bring that to the game. And then, what happened against Munster with Robbie Henshaw putting deft little grubber kicks through for, I think it was Gary Ringrose to score. Then you start questioning your line speed and you ease off a bit, and then it just creates space for Leinster elsewhere. So it's incredibly tough to kind of get the right balance. And Leinster, with all the success they've had, they just keep, they're so innovative. And you see, what were they doing during pre-season? They were analysing the Crusaders. Crusaders were analysing them. So they just keep on adding those 1%, 2%, which make a huge difference. And, that grubber kick through, identifying space against a rush defence is something new they've added to their game. So they are just the complete package. I suppose from Ulster's point of view, history kind of says that they're not going to win today. They've won once in Dublin in 20 years. I think Leinster have knocked Ulster out, whether it be semi-final or finals, 6 times in the last decade. But from an Ulster point of view, like we said last year in that quarter-final of the Champions Cup, if they start well, if they're in the game, they've got a chance. It's a final. Anything can happen in a final. Yeah. And perhaps Leinster a little bit complacent. We're complacent, with the big Champions Cup coming up.
Well, thanks, Mike. We've got to take a break. Back shortly with more from the Saturday panel. Lynne Cantwell, Mike McCarthy and Paddy Wallace in the Pro14 final. Leinster against Ulster. 53106. You got a question for the panel. Back after this.
The Saturday panel on Off the Ball. Are you paying a fortune to light your commercial premises? You could be saving up to 70% on your bills by switching to energy-efficient LEDs. ECI Lighting is Ireland's oldest lighting company and can invest all of the capital required to upgrade your building to LED technology. You'll make immediate utility savings, and we take care of everything, even recycling your old light fittings. Our flexible lighting as a service agreement includes a 5-year on-site warranty. Call us in Dublin, Cork or Belfast, or visit ecilighting.ie to find out more.
There are plenty of reasons to get an official Volkswagen service, from the expertise of a Volkswagen master technician to the confidence in using only Volkswagen genuine parts. However, to the majority of drivers, only one reason really matters: what you get when you bring it all together, an official service history. In fact, 78% of Irish drivers would pay more for your Volkswagen if it has a full Volkswagen service history. Book your timing belt replacement from only €499 at volkswagenservice.ie. Terms and conditions apply at participating retailers for a limited time only.
Sharon Niviolan here. National Hospice fundraising efforts have been severely affected by COVID-19. Please support your local hospice by hosting a socially distanced or virtual coffee morning for Hospice Coffee Morning Together with Bewley's on Thursday 24th of September. Visit hospicecoffeemorning.ie or call 1890 998 995.
Do you hear that ticking sound? Is the engine okay?
That's the radio. Glitch hop, they call it. Music these days, eh?
Really? You changed the station then?
I know, it's kind of catchy.
It takes courage to admit you need help. With Allianz Car Insurance, you can also add breakdown assistance. Get a quote online and save 20%. Visit allianz.ie today. Allianz. We cover courage. Allianz plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Standard acceptance criteria and policy conditions apply. Minimum premium of €284. The premium reduction does not apply to breakdown assistance, which is an optional extra, and an additional premium applies.
The Mental Health and Wellbeing Summit is moving online this year, with the virtual summit taking place on October 12th. Now more than ever, we need support to cope with the challenges in our lives. And this year, our speakers will deliver information on a wide range of topics about coping during a pandemic. Don't miss this opportunity to gain valuable insights into managing mental health from some of the best experts. Book your online ticket now at mentalhealthandwellbeingsummit.com.
Discover the Bosch laundry range at Power City. Achieve perfect washing results thanks to the Bosch Intelligent Dosing System IDOS. Now with a free 5-year warranty. For more information, go to powercity.ie.
If you're a business that's rebuilding after the impact of COVID-19, there's a lot to be done. Stabilising cash flow, adapting your operations, and innovating to meet new customer needs. Enterprise Ireland can help kickstart your recovery with a new funding package, which now includes up to €200,000 as a non-repayable grant. This funding is time limited, so contact our Business Response Unit to begin your application. For full information and conditions, visit enterpriseinarland.com/COVID. Supported by the Government of Ireland.
The mightiest heroes. The greatest action.
I could do this all day.
The best of Marvel.
Yeah!
Assembled on Disney+.
Good luck keeping up.
Avengers, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Ant-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel.
Anyone else?
Unleash the universe.
Oh, I've missed this.
Disney+, the home of Marvel. All these and more now streaming. 18+ subscription required. T's and C's apply.
At Centra, we have everything you need for back to school in our better than half price sale. Like Centra Fresh Irish part bone chicken breast 610 gram now $3.45. Nature Valley Crunchy Oats and Honey Family 20 pack now $2.94. And My Waddy Double Concentrate 1 litre range now €1.70. Centra. Live every day.
For 15 years, John Delaney ruled the FAI. In her brilliant new book, Mark Tye and Paul Rowan uncover the secrets of his extraordinary reign and reveal new details of the spending on his personal lifestyle. Read an exclusive extract from Champagne Football in this week's Sunday Times. Or subscribe for just €5 a month at thetimes.ie/join.
Join the switching revolution at Carphone Warehouse today. We've got exclusive deals you won't find anywhere else. Like, get the Samsung S10 for only $49.99 when you switch to a €40 a month plan with Vodafone. Or get the Samsung Galaxy S20 5G with Samsung Galaxy Active Watch for free when you switch to a €60 a month plan with Vodafone. Carphone Warehouse, for the best deals on your mobile, TV and broadband. Offer subject to availability and 24-month contract.
across Ireland. This is the IMRO Radio Awards Station of the Year. This is News Talk.
It's 2 o'clock. Good afternoon. Ireland's 14-day average of COVID-19 cases per 100,000 people has increased by more than a third in the past 7 days. New figures from the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control puts the country's average at 40.6. It was 29.6 last Saturday. It comes amid a fresh appeal from the Acting Chief Medical Officer to the people of Dublin to break the chains of transmission following a rise in COVID-19 cases. Dr. Catherine Motherway, consultant in intensive care medicine at University Hospital Limerick, is worried about what might happen if cases continue to increase.
As we try and prepare for the winter in the hospital system, we want to continue to deliver care to our scheduled patients. And if we see a surge in COVID, that will interfere with that, because we all know that our hospital system is stretched.
The HSE has distanced itself from comments made by one of its senior doctors. In an interview with the Irish Times, Dr. Martin Feely, who's clinical director of the Dublin's Midlands Hospital Group, said that COVID-19 is much less severe than the average annual flu. He also said that the current draconian restrictions are no longer justified. In a statement, the Health Service says it disassociates itself from and rejects his comments. Boris Johnson's claimed Brussels could carve up our country if Tories reject his controversial Brexit bill. The British Prime Minister says legislation is needed to end EU threats of a blockade in the Irish Sea. He's worried MPs could rebel over fears the bill breaks international law. UK Cabinet Minister Michael Goves hopes it won't be needed.
We hope that we will get a free trade agreement between the UK and the EU. I think it's in everyone's interests, but we've got to make sure that we have an insurance policy if the EU aren't as cooperative as we hope they will be.
And Gardaí and Donegal are asking for the public's help in tracing a 17-year-old girl missing from her home since Monday evening. Holly Hassett from Manor Cunningham was last seen at 8:30 wearing grey cycling shorts and a white top. She's slim, around 5'6" in height, with long brown hair and brown eyes. Anyone who can help is asked to contact Letterkenny Garda Station. It's 2 minutes past 2.
News Talk Weather.
Thanks to the AA. Download the new AA app to request a roadside rescue and track the patrol right to your car.
Scattered showers in parts of the north and west today, heavy at times, but mostly dry elsewhere with sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 15 to 18 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Saturday panel on Off the Ball.
Welcome back to Off the Ball Saturday here on News Talk. John Duggan with you through until 5 o'clock. You can text us on 53106. You can tweet us at Off the Ball. We're also streaming as well. You can watch us on the social channels for Periscope on Twitter, at Off the Ball, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on the new OTB Sports app. Download that now for iOS and Android by searching OTB Sports in your app store. We're previewing tonight's Pro14 final between Leinster and Ulster. We'll come to that in a moment. Just to let you know that Arsenal are now 3-0 up on Fulham in the first Premier League game of the new season. So we had goals from Alexander Lacazette early on, then Gabriel, the defender, the new signing, the Brazilian, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has made it 3-0. How good are Arsenal, but how bad are Fulham, I suppose, is another question you want to ask. But Aubameyang already on the mark as he bids to win that golden boot this season. So good start for them. We'll discuss football between 3 and 5, but now are looking ahead to this match between Leinster and Ulster. 7:35 Pro14 final kick-off at the Aviva Stadium. We're speaking to Mike McCarthy, former Leinster player, Paddy Wallace, formerly of Ulster, and Lynne Cantwell, the former Irish international and the board member of Sport Ireland. Mike, just start with you on Dan McFarland and Leo Cullen. You're in a strange position in that you played with them and you were coached by them.
Yeah, well, sorry, after the news there, I thought you were going to ask me about Brexit, so I'm glad you're not.
Or Arsenal, or Fulham.
Yeah, the soccer either, yeah. But, I played 2004, I played one season with Dan McFarland, and then, I was coached by him at Connacht for a number of years, and, he is a fantastic coach. He's a great motivator. As we mentioned earlier, I don't know if it's a degree or a master's in psychology he's got, but he is very good at reading you. You're always wondering, what is he thinking? What's he going to ask you? And he's great at, he's very good at, skilled at knowing what works best for different players. And he is very good at that. But he's a very clever coach, and he goes into some amount of depth. And I'm sure you'll see today he'll have some brilliant, innovative plays. He'll come up, whether it's a front peel, a back peel, a throw over the top. He is very clever and coming up with plays that will break down a defence. So, and plus he'll really have the guys motivated for the game today. Obviously, you need no motivation for a final, especially when Leinster are doing as well as they are. But he'll tweak that and make sure the guys are in exactly the right place mentally that they can be going into this match.
You were also in the same boat with Leo, Mike.
Yeah, same boat. Yeah, same boat with Leo. Yeah, that Pro14 final against Glasgow in 2014. Leo was on the bench, so it was strange. That was a strange switch over for me. I was used to getting Leo stamping me stamping Leo, and then next thing I know, we're in the team together and best of mates. So yeah, Leo exactly the same. Leo, I mean, he's the most successful club captain ever, I think. So he's an inspirational guy. Again. Maybe doesn't say quite as much as Dan McFarlane, but he just motivates you as a player, motivates you with his actions, and when he speaks, you listen. So he's a fantastic coach, and obviously with Stuart Lancaster coming in and all the other great additions, their coaching setup is just absolutely amazing, and that's why they find the position, themselves in the position they're in now. The squad they've used 53 players this season. So, yeah, very exciting from that front.
Does there become a distance, Mike and Paddy and Lynne, when you have somebody that you've been soldiering alongside, that they then become the boss, the coach?
Yeah, look, just if I were to jump in there, I just think it's so different. I think what we've seen so many examples of if that player transitioned to coach, and whereby the tactical understanding of the game isn't enough to be a coach, an elite coach, and a successful coach. It's about your leadership style and your communication style and your ability to flex to different players and to work with your management staff. And that's why we see so many pairs of coaches that work well together, and they soldier on for years with different teams. So I think often it's just different, isn't it? It's completely different. The person that you see as a coach is often a completely different person that you see if you played alongside them as a player is often very, very different as a coach, because I think that you have to be a very different outfit when you step into that role.
Yeah, I think Mike's point on Dan's sort of his in-depth knowledge of psychology is something that could be quite important. And I can only go on our final in the Heineken in 2012 when we came up against the Leinster juggernaut. But we were overly motivated, I think, going out onto the pitch. And Leinster just seemed to take the match in their stride like another game. And they were so accurate in their execution, whereas we just lacked that. We were off maybe 10, 15%, and we were punished for that. And I think that was because the occasion maybe got a wee bit too much for a lot of our players, because it was our first time there. It was full house at Twickenham. It was a lovely day. We really thought we were in with a shot, but we didn't execute. And I think that's because we were probably a wee bit too amped up. I think that's where Dan's ability to get the best out of the players, keep them calm, keep them motivated. As Mike says, it's a final. Everybody's going to be motivated, but it's bottling that up and making sure you're accurate and you execute as close to perfect as possible.
Did you think, Paddy, that Dan would have been able to turn around Ulster as quickly as he did when he came in 2 years ago? It wasn't in the best of places.
No, I thought the first year was always going to be difficult, and I thought their strategy has really paid off. I mean, they have completely thrown out basically that awful year in 2016 we don't really need to go into, but there was a culture shift that Dan arrived. He didn't renew a lot of the players' contracts. Trimby was out, Tommy was out, Chris Henry. A lot of those players were gone. Rory and Darren were the last two really of that generation who retired last year, and he blooded younger players and threw them out onto the pitch in that first year. And I expected them to lose a lot more matches, but they swam. They did. They punched above their weight, I thought. And then last year there was an even bigger improvement, and you can see that now. The performances in Europe over the last 2 years have been outstanding. We've made the quarterfinals. We've been competitive in the league. We've found ourselves in a league final. So that shift in culture. And Bryn Cunningham, I think, has to take a lot of credit for that as well, in terms of how he reshaped Ulster along with John Petrie as CEO. Big changes needed to be made from 2016 going forward, and I think the decisions were tough decisions to make, because those players that basically were moved on had been ingrained in Ulster for the last 10 years. But the decision was made, and it's paying dividends now.
What you touched upon there was interesting, Lynne, about just it's not always just about the technical side, it's about the leadership side, and it's about how a coach can cut through. For the three of you, was there ever a moment when a coach did something maybe regarding tactics or what they said that really touched you and made a difference to you in terms of your performance?
I'll go second.
Lynne, was there ever a moment that was really, wow, that really made an impact on how I performed in a better way?
Yeah, look, I'm probably thinking of two examples, and often the lads will probably say the same, that often the impact of a coach is often non-technical, because sometimes, you get to a stage where you kind of are at the same level technically as a coach. Sometimes, but so often it's the leadership stuff. Like, I remember Greg McWilliams, who was our backs coach, who's in the USA now, but I remember him saying about comfort zones. He said, if you're not making mistakes, you're not out of your comfort zone. So I want you to make mistakes, and it really encouraged us to go for it. You know what I mean? As opposed to just being afraid to make mistakes, and therefore I'm going to stay in what I perceive as what I'm capable of. I need to get better, and therefore I'm going to need to push my threshold. So I think that was one example. And there's just another example. I remember Philip Doyle, who was our Irish coach. Like I played for 13 years for Ireland, and my 12th year in, I remember I got this local award for my parish, and I was like, oh God, should I really ask him? Could I go for it? I'd never ever missed training in the whole 12 years before that. And I just said, oh look, it's a Saturday night, and we were training up in Johnstown anyway. And I was like, oh look, Goose, it's really important to my mum. Can I go to this awards thing? And I was really nervous, and he was like, Lynne, you've never asked me for anything for 12 years. Of course you can go, you can take 2 hours off. So I think they're examples of just the reflection, the respect that coaches have for you. But I think that's flexing to your style. I think that's really, really important in coaches, which is the softer stuff, which is sometimes harder to put your finger on.
I've actually thought of one, Lynne. Thanks for giving me a chance to have a think there. But one that happened with me actually towards the end of my career was when Stuart Lancaster had just come in. It was his first he came halfway through the season. So I'd been out for 9 months with a few bad concussions. I had a really bad one against France in the Six Nations, and I just kind of got my starting place in the Irish team then, and got stood down for 9 months. And I came back. I played, I think, a pre-season game against Bath, and then we played Glasgow away. Glasgow made a line break on about the halfway, and I just wasn't match fit. So 6 months out, and I didn't even realise, but I was jogging, even walking a bit, but getting back into the defensive line in our own 22, and didn't really think too much about it. And then went into the club on the Monday to Leinster, and was just waiting for our team review. We lost that game against Glasgow away, and Stuart just called me into the office. So I went into the office. He said, Macca, have you seen this clip? He showed me it, and it's me walking back into the defensive line. And he said, Macca, I'm going to give it to you in this video session. And I was like, yeah, sure, Stu, no worries, fair play. And went into the video session, and he called me out on it. And I stuck my hands up, said, yeah, that's fair enough. That's unacceptable. Shouldn't be walking back into the defensive line. That's a really poor picture. And, just totally changed my mindset, and, just really showed, him setting the tone early on in his life and at Leinster. And, he called me out, and it was a great example to the younger players, a more senior player. And, I don't think I ever walked into a defensive line after that. So that was a good example maybe of, how Stu perhaps works.
Well, the difference between doing that and not doing that, the difference between, if he'd said it to you and he caught you by surprise, you might have felt a little bit, potentially, not you, but a bit of resentment. But the fact that he gave you a heads up.
Yeah. When I walked out, I was a bit angry and a bit annoyed. And then, when I look back on it now, and, it's totally the right thing to do, and that's how you change culture. That's what you need to do, and you need to be upfront. You need to be honest, and he is honest, and he's an absolutely fantastic coach. I just wish I was able to play I wish I'd played under him, earlier.
Yeah, I've got one that's really relevant to today than it was back whenever I was given this advice. It was after an Ireland A game, and Decky was the coach, Declan Kidney, and I'd played well, and I think I'd scored 19 points against the All Blacks up at Ravenhill on I think it was back in 2001. And next day at breakfast, reading the papers and good reports and stuff, and he came over. He goes, "Why are you reading that?" And he just sort of made the point, you'll be criticised, and you shouldn't take any. You shouldn't listen to the opinions whenever you're criticised, nor should you listen to the opinions whenever you do well. And from that point on, I didn't read match reports, ratings. I didn't go onto Twitter, and Twitter was only in its infancy then. But I think that sprung to mind whenever Jacob Stockdale during the World Cup came out and said how much that affected his confidence, because he was reading his Twitter feeds after games. He was getting slagged off, and wouldn't say it put him into depression, but it certainly affected his confidence.
Is the baby okay there, Paddy?
Advice. Sorry?
Is there a baby in the background there?
Sorry, that's mine.
Not mine. Yeah.
Oh no, that was a good story. I want to hear the end, Paddy.
Go on, Paddy. The baby's okay now.
Whose baby is it? Is it mine?
It's Lynne's. It's Lynne's, Paddy.
It was interesting, and because social media is so prevalent now in everybody's life, they use it as a tool and to market themselves. If you read into that too much, it was just the press back then, but nowadays you're getting it from all angles. And if you can have the discipline not to open up your phone after games, whether you play well or poorly, I think the only opinions that really matter, I'm sure you guys know, are your coaches, your family, and your teammates.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely well said. Johnny Sexton not involved tonight. Is that a risk, Mike?
I suppose it's one of those ones where if they win, it's the right decision. If they don't win, it's the wrong decision. But they've done it before a number of times. Ross Byrne has stepped in. I remember against Scarlets, a playoff game, he stepped in. Against Munster, a Pro14 playoff game, I think it was a semi or a quarter, he stepped in and delivered. A massive Champions Cup game, I think last season against Toulouse at the RDS, he stepped in and delivered, played incredibly well. So it's not the first time he stepped into a massive game and he's completely delivered. So I don't think it's a concern, and
Johnny's on the bench as well, obviously.
Johnny's on the bench. He can come on, and I'm not concerned about it. And Ross Byrne coming in, he's cool, he's calm, he's collected. He doesn't get flustered. He completely controls the game. He's very brave. And then one of his big strengths is that crossfield kick into space. So I'm sure that's something we'll see today from him as well. I'm not sure. I've heard maybe Ulster talking. Is it complacency? And I really don't think it is.
Gary Ringrose is a captain. Is he a future Irish captain, possibly in waiting?
Yeah, look, I think this.
Sorry, go on then.
Yeah, no, go on. Look, I think it's an interesting call. I think more from the point of view of how nervous is he going to be? I just think, is it going to affect his performance? But equally, I suppose you have to do your debut as captain at some stage, and I hope he's got a lot of wise heads around him to say, look, it's only a title. You only toss the coin as a captain, really, and just play your game. So, look, I think it's a reflection of the kind of the quieter leadership that he displays on the pitch and off the pitch, which most people respect that and want to follow. So I think it's a great confidence boost for him. Future captain, I'm not too sure. The lads might have an opinion on that.
Yeah, well, I think it's great. I mean, what he's achieved. I mean, is he only 24, 25, and he's won so much silverware already. He's played so many senior games, and he is at such a young age, very experienced. But, going into this game, he's got the likes of Cian Healy, Dev Toner, James Ryan, who's captained the under-20s. So there's a lot of experience there to help him. And, obviously, as we said, Johnny Sexton on the bench. So, but yeah, definitely a future captain down the line.
James Ryan, has he been missed, do you think, Paddy? He's back this evening.
Sorry, I missed that.
James Ryan is back this evening. Has he been missed, or is it just once again indicative of how strong Leinster are, that their squad is just incredible at the moment?
He definitely hasn't been missed. The Leinster pack has been ferocious, and he just adds to that. He's such a world-class player. We look on in envy from Belfast down to Dublin at the conveyor belt of players that you're able to bring through every single year. But James Ryan really is top of that pile. A future Lion for sure, and just shows the strength and depth that you guys have. We look on in envy. We bring Hendy back in. I don't know if it completely negates that, but in terms of leadership, in terms of another ball carrier, because Coetzee, who's been so superb for Ulster, he is really been, along with Stuart McCluskey, are really the two have been the two areas that we get go forward from. Bringing Hendy in there just adds that, takes a workload off those two a wee bit, which is important. It's as Mike says, whether or not you will get a full 80 minutes, perhaps a good strong 50, 60 out of Hendy will certainly help ease the load on those other players.
So how do we see it going, Lynn? How do you see the matchup? What Ulster need to do to shock Leinster this afternoon, or this evening rather, 7:35 start? How do you see it going? What's the difference between the winning and the losing of this for you, this Pro14 final?
Yeah, look, I think we mentioned there that Ulster need to start fast. They need to try, and if they don't have possession, I think they just they need to just absorb what Leinster throw at them as much as possible. I think Stockdale is important. I think if he gets his hands on the ball, I think that there's opportunities there. I think, like the boys were saying, like McCluskey and Coetzee, they're big strengths, they're big ball carriers, and I think it was earlier on in the week, Bernard Jackman was saying, is there an option to try and use them as decoys and try and play some other players into the game, because Leinster are going to know where their strengths are. So I think tactically they're the probably things that they'll be looking at, and as we said before, their ability to close out the game in the last quarter is going to be important to maintain the momentum. I think their weaknesses have been their error count and their ability to convert in opposition 22. They're all things that they have to be more clinical on, and in a final with all of the things that we've just discussed, that's more difficult because there's more pressure, and plus Leinster's defence is excellent on their gain line. So look, I think it will go Leinster's side. I hope that it's going to be a good game. I hope that we see just another step in this Ulster team, and this picture that they're painting, a more of a progressive step, and a competitive game all round, hopefully.
The text in here, Lynn, thank God the sound of the baby is coming from the radio. I'm renovating an old house today. I thought the sounds were coming from the house.
Oh, dear.
Sorry, I was just going to say on Lynn's point there, she was mentioning about keeping the error count down, and especially for Ulster playing in a final, and Paddy mentioned that emotion going into a final. Will Leinster deal with it better having been there more often? But that's a point of difference for Leinster, is their error count is much lower than other teams. If they make a mistake, if they have a knock on or a missed tackle or a line out goes badly, they don't compound an error with another error and another error. They keep the error count very low. So I think from Ulster's point of view, coming into this final, they have to, and which they will have done, is look back to the quarter final, that game they played really well in last year. And they'll see they've got to start the game well, like they did in that quarter final. The set piece has got to be strong. Got to have a massive impact like they did against Edinburgh from their bench, and discipline's got to be massive. You can't give easy access for Leinster, mate. You can't make it easy for them, and you need a bit of luck on the day. You need a bit of luck with a decision from the ref, and that in a final there's always a chance.
So call it, Mike.
Yeah, but I'm still going to go with Leinster by 10.
And call it, Paddy. How do you see it going?
Yeah, I think Leinster by half a dozen, unfortunately.
OK, well, Paddy Wallace, Lynne Cantwell, Mike McCarthy, been such great sports to speak to us on the panel, looking ahead to Leinster against Ulster and Off the Ball Saturday. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Enjoy.
OK.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
On the first episode of News Talk's new podcast series, Embedded Tech in Town, we're taking you back to the year 2000. The Nokia 5110 was the best phone you could buy. Floppy disks were where we stored our files. And Westlife were flying high at the top of the charts. What a time to be alive. Each episode will look at Dublin's transformation over the last 20 years with the arrival of big tech in town with the help of some of the people behind it.
Embedded Tech in Town.
With Jess Kelly.
Thanks to Salesforce.
Listen and subscribe to the podcast now or tune in this evening at 8.
On News Talk.
At Harvey Norman, we've got the latest range of Chromebooks for heading off to college. Get the Asus Chromebook C523 laptop with free built-in virus protection and all the apps you love, like Microsoft Word and Netflix, available on Google Play Store, only €349. Or buy any laptop over $799 and we'll give you up to €300 cashback. Shop in store or online at Harvey Norman for our best prices on must-have technology for heading off to college.
I'm going to take an online cooking class so I can surprise Ruth on our anniversary.
At Zurich Pensions, we believe small actions can have great impact.
I do have some skills, but I'd say there's room for improvement. If I can perfect that prawn linguine, Ruth and I can relive our trip to Venice. It'll mean the world to her.
Take a small action for your future today. Talk to your financial broker about topping up your pension with Zurich or visit zurich.ie to find out more. Zurich Life Assurance plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Psychology, performance analysis, sports therapy and coaching all contribute to elite performance in sport. At Portobello Institute, we offer full-time and blended learning honours degrees in each of these sporting disciplines. Affordable and accessible online study, small group lectures and practicals are now enrolling at Portobello Institute. So talk to an expert about our full-time and blended learning sports degree courses at our virtual open sessions. Visit portobelloinstitute.com for details.
For many businesses across Ireland, it's still not business as usual. An Post Commerce is here to help you get through. Our Advantage card saves you money with 25% off standard parcel labels, so you can grow your orders and keep your costs down too. Get your Advantage card today at your local post office or at onpost.com/commerce. An Post Commerce, for your world. Terms and conditions apply.
At Specsavers, we're now open with 3 new ways to look after your sight and hearing. In store, where we're following all the recommended safety guidelines. At home, where you can get help via phone or video call from the comfort of your sofa, front room, or wherever you're most comfortable. Maybe not your bathtub though, for video calls. Not a good idea. Oh, and online, where you can order glasses and contact lenses straight to your door.
Specsavers, open with you in mind. Book an appointment online or call your nearest store.
Don't miss our essential guide to the CAO and non-CAO options this Saturday only in the Irish Independent, brimming with expert advice on the CAO process, grants and everything parents need to know. Plus our Ultimate Points Guide, details of a free exam helpline, a live Q&A blog and education podcasts, exclusively in the Irish Independent. Real stories worth paying for. Imprint or subscribe at independent.ie.
We've built our latest Citroën C5 Aircross SUV with more features than ever before. Travel and comfort with advanced comfort suspension, a built-in dash cam, individual rear seat, best-in-class boot space, active lane assist, road sign recognition, touchscreen display, 5-year unlimited mileage warranty. And right now, get all this and more from just €205 a month. The Citroën C5 Aircross SUV, now with 0% APR finance. Visit your nearest Citroën dealer or find out more at citroen.ie. Citroën. Finance by hire purchase. Minimum deposit 20%. Lending criteria, T's and C's apply.
Why do we still use plastic bags? Why do clocks still go back? Questioning things is good. Like, why pay loads for your mobile plan? You don't when you switch to 48. $7.99 a month gets you 100 gigs of data, all calls, all texts. And when you sign up for this mobile plan, you keep it. Even after this offer ends. Try us out with a free SIM today. 48. Changing up mobile. Offer ends 10th of November. New customers only. Fair use and monthly membership applies. For terms, see 48.ie.
The United Kingdom has left the EU. Businesses moving goods from, to or across Great Britain will face a range of new requirements, beginning on the 1st of January 2021. You need to act now to avoid significant delays and to minimise disruption and cost. Find out what your business needs to do to prepare now and what supports are in place. Go to gov.ie/Brexit. An initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Right now, many of us are looking to make savings. At Alpha Wealth, we can help. An award-winning company with offices in Cork and Dublin, we provide straightforward financial advice to all. Whether you are saving for a house, your children's third-level education or retirement, if you'd like your money to work harder for you, then contact us at alphawealth.ie. And from now until the end of October, we're offering free financial reviews over video and phone. Alpha Wealth, financial advice made simple. Alpha Wealth Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
And you're welcome back to Off the Ball Saturday on News Talk. John Duggan with you through until 3 o'clock. We've got a full time from the Premier League and it's Fulham against Arsenal. Huge win for the Gunners to start off the season. Ian Beach.
Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. A comfortable start to the season for Arsenal with a goal inside 10 minutes by Alexander Lacazette, plus a header from defender Gabriel from a corner on his debut, and a trademark goal by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, cutting in from the left wing and curling into the net with his right foot. Another new signing, Willian, hit the post with a free kick, and Fulham spent the last half hour of this one chasing shadows. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3.
Yeah, 53106 News Talk, very popular. I even hear a little baby trying to get a say in there. So cute to hear the baby in the background. Yeah, bless. That is from Lily and Mayo, tuned in there enjoying the show. Thanks very much, Lily. That was Lynne Cantwell, Mike McCarthy and Paddy Wallace on our Pro14 preview between Leinster and Ulster, which kicks off at 7:35 this evening. So we've had our panel. We'll have our soccer chat between 3 and 5. Gary Breen, Dan McDonnell and Johnny Ward joining us. But what a week it's been for Carrick-on-Sure's Sam Bennett, Irish cycling and indeed Irish sport. Bennett now the favourite to win the green jersey at the Tour de France after a string of consistent performances led to the sprinter winning a stage this week, his first ever stage win at the Tour. So to look back and to look ahead, we're joined by the journalist from cyclingnews.com, Barry Ryan. Barry, good afternoon.
Hi John, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Barry. Is it the case now that if Sam Bennett gets through the mountains to Paris on Sunday week, he wins the green jersey?
Not quite. Today's stage is actually kind of a very crucial day in the green jersey competition. It's actually 100 kilometres left in the stage. It's a day, the way the points competition is weighted is that there are 50 points awarded, different points awarded at the end of stages according to their degree of difficulty. Today's stage is listed as a flat stage, which means it has the maximum 50 points on offer at the finish, but it's not actually a flat stage. They've just gone over a Category 2 climb, and unfortunately Sam Bennett has been dropped out the back of the peloton, and he's about a minute behind, chasing to get back on. He's direct rival in the green jersey competition, Peter Sagan, said he's Bora Hansgrohe team to the front to work on that climb. They managed to split up the bunch, and now they're still riding in the front, trying to make sure Bennett doesn't get back on. So today really is a crucial day. If he manages to get back on, finish in the same group as Sagan, then yes, I would agree with you. From that point on, it would be a case of surviving the mountains, and then he would be the big favourite to win the green jersey. But this afternoon will tell us a lot.
Okay, Barry, how difficult is it going to be for Sam to survive the Alps?
Normally, he manages himself pretty well in the high mountains. I'm thinking back to the Giro d'Italia when he won 3 stages in 2018. He used to make kind of a point of saving as much energy as possible in the high mountains. He'd almost deliberately finish right at the back to keep himself fresh and sharp for the sprints, and he managed himself very well. It's a little bit different here at the Tour because he's in the green jersey, which means that there's the kind of mental stress of, and every day he has something to fight for. At the start of every stage, early in every mountain stage on this Tour, there's an intermediate sprint where he's going to have to go with Sagan, expend energy, and then he's going to have to try to survive the mountains afterwards. So it's a little bit different. Sagan historically survives the mountains better than any of the other sprinters, and that's what's kind of given him that's why he's won 7 green jerseys in the last 8 years. But Bennett, as a general rule, manages himself quite well in the mountains, but the circumstances are a little bit different for him here.
I think the emotion, Barry, that we saw from Sam the other day really touched us here in Ireland. We haven't had much good news in the last few months in sport. The Tour de France has got a bad rap in recent years, I think deservedly so, but this is a genuine feel-good story.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy, I guess, who's been a big talent from when he was a junior and as a teen. You know, he won a stage of the Ross as a teenager. You know, and at that point, you would have thought that he was going to make kind of a rapid sort of leap to the professional ranks, but he ran into injuries. He raced as an amateur in France for a couple of years, had contacts with a French World Tour team, but because of injury, that didn't work out. So he kind of dropped back down the ranks a little bit and raced for 3 years with Sean Kelly's Unpost team. And then he's kind of, you know, step by step kind of fought his way back up to the level that he should be at. And even when it comes to the Tour, he's had a very difficult relationship with the Tour, going back to, you know, he raced it in 2015 when he probably wasn't fit enough to race it. He'd had injuries beforehand and he had to abandon. In 2016, he crashed on the first day and essentially didn't contest the sprint until it got to Paris. Then for the last 3 years, he was left out of the team for the Tour. So he's had to, and he made a point of leaving Peter Sagan's Bora team last year to move to the Quick Step team to get his shot at riding the Tour. So you can see all of those things kind of contributed, I think, to his emotional response after he won the stage on Tuesday. And obviously the position he's in at the Coyne Quick Step, there's a hell of a lot of pressure because it's a team that, you know, they've always had very strong sprinters. They remind me a little bit of, you might remember Juventus in the 1990s, where they had a very strong team, but they used to change their centre forward every year. You know, they shipped out Vialli and they brought in Vieri, then they got rid of him and brought in Inzaghi, then they brought in Trezeguet, and the expectation was whoever was up front was going to score goals. And it's the same with the Coyne Quick Step. They've had Mark Cavendish, they've had Marcel Kittel, they've had Fernando Gaviria, they've had Elia Viviani. All those guys have won stages at the Tour. Sam Bennett was signed this year to replace Viviani and to be the guy who would win at the Tour. So he came into the Tour with all that pressure on his shoulders as well. And I think the emotional response we saw after he won was kind of all of that pressure being lifted off his shoulders.
If he does win it on Sunday week, the green jersey, Barry, what doors does it open for him, do you think?
I mean, it's, in terms of doors, it's hard to say. You know, I think he's kind of at the peak of his career right now, and he's it's kind of been the case that maybe this is an opportunity that he should have had several years ago. You know, he's been winning races sprints at World Tour level and in the other Grand Tours for the last 2 seasons. Last year, he was clear that he was, you know, either the best or at least in the top 2 sprinters in the world, but he wasn't at the Tour. So it's not so much maybe what doors it's opening for him in the future, more a case that it's the door has belatedly opened for him now to win at this level. And he's still only, you know, he'll only be 30 later this year. So, and he hasn't been at the top level for that long, you know, compared to Sagan, who's the same age and has been kind of, you know, in the World Tour for the last decade. And we can kind of see that he's maybe has a lot of miles on the clock and is struggling. You still feel there's a lot more in the tank for Sam Bennett going into the years ahead.
Has he really come to the peak of his technique now when it comes to sprints? Like we always, you know, even Ronan O'Gara was saying the other day when he was on the show that like they just went past him like a flash, and like that's, you know, there must be a very much a skill to be able to go into that sprint finish. Like, what's it like when you're watching it, say close by at the finish line yourself, Barry? Yeah, I mean, you know, it's hard to kind of to put into words the sort of the speed that they're approaching at. You know, it's not just the sprint. I mean, obviously, you know, in that finishing straight, they hit kind of, you know, they're above 70 kilometers an hour, and it's incredibly fast. But you know, the speed is incredibly high for the last hour or 2 hours in a sprint stage. There's a constant battle for position. You know, as a sprinter, you're always trying to essentially hide from the wind for as long as possible, and then emerge at the right time. So there's so many moving parts. It's obviously the physical aspect and having that raw power and raw speed is very important, but it's so tactical as well. So many decisions have to be taken so quickly, and it's one of those things where if you make a mistake, you can't really overcome it. So you really, you know, if you win a stage of the Tour, essentially you've been making decisions for the last 10 kilometers, a series of decisions for the last 10 kilometers, and everyone has to be perfect. And just briefly, Barry, for the overall race, the yellow jersey seems to be between a couple of Slovenians, Primož Roglic, Tadej Pogačar, and the Colombian Egan Bernal, who won it last year.
Yeah, at the moment, the two Slovenians look to be on a different level to everybody else. Yesterday's summit finish at Puy-Marie, they were, considerably stronger than the other general classification contenders. That said, Bernal, he's still only a minute behind. He has, based on last year and on his tour debut in 2018, he does seem to have this ability to maintain his form in the third week when other riders fall away, but he's going to have to pull out something very special. It was interesting to hear him after the stage yesterday. And again, when a rider is beaten, maybe you take with a grain of salt what they say about their own performance, but he said that his power numbers on the climb were up there with the best he'd ever produced, but that, Roglic and Pogačar were just on a different level to what he could produce. And, that's a trend that would be very difficult for him to overcome in the third week.
Well, Barry, thanks so much for joining us with the update from the Tour de France, and the best of luck for the next week and a half yourself and for Sam Bennett.